I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google. Now, who's going to be the Medici family and stand up and let me create more? Or do you want to marginalize me till I'm out of my moment?
Or why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Kanye.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm the right-winged angel, Oliver Mack, and in this video, we got to talk about Kanye West. Again, that's right, we got to talk about Kanye West. I'm tired of talking about Kanye West, but I've heard a lot of people talking about the situation with him going on Alex Jones, and I wanted to give a different perspective because there are some things that I've been hearing that I disagree with, some things I agree with, but for the most part, it's been things I don't agree with. So I wanted to give you guys a new perspective that maybe you haven't heard about this situation. So let's talk about it. All right. So first of all, there are people on the right that are saying that Kanye West is accurate in what he's saying. And they're basically defending Kanye West, saying that, you know, he's just shining a light on things that we can't talk about or whatever. Okay, cool. But I just don't see it leading anywhere. I just don't see what his end goal is, because he's basically destroying his image, destroying his wealth. And what is he going to end up with? Now, if he says that, well, these people have been exposed. Okay, now what? If Kanye West believes that the Jays are running the world, right? He believes that the Jays have the most power in this world and they're behind the scenes. They're doing everything. Okay, so if we acknowledge that, then what? Are they going to stop? Is anything going to come out of that? Are they going to come from behind the curtain and say, ha, you got us. All right, now we'll stop doing these things that you told us, you told everybody that we're doing. No, that's not going to happen. It's basically like the whole white privilege argument, right? So people say that white people have privilege and white people just need to acknowledge the fact that they have privilege. Okay, if every white person in the United States of America today got up and said, okay, I acknowledge my white privilege. Now what? What happens after that? Do white people start giving up their land and their property and their money to the minorities just because they acknowledge their white privilege? No, they're not going to do that. So what is it going to do for us? It does nothing. Basically, it makes people look crazy. It makes people look like, yeah, I need you to acknowledge this so I feel better about the situation that I'm in. Is that what Kanye West is doing? I need the Jays to acknowledge that they're doing this and this and that so I feel better about the situation that I'm in. That's what it feels like to me. And I feel like, you know, I stand behind Kanye West's right to free speech. Absolutely. He has the right to say whatever he wants to say, whatever he wants, get it off his chest, whatever he needs to do. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. But I know that he's going to get criticized. And that's okay too, because that's somebody else's right to free speech. And they are allowed to criticize you. If somebody don't agree with what you said, then they can push back. And I love that. Like, I don't want to live in an echo chamber. So I love the fact that if I say something that people don't agree with, that people will respond to me and that we get to have a dialogue and I get to tell people the reason that I feel the way that I do about these certain topics. But we've seen Kanye West, whenever he gets pushed back for his ideas, he goes off or he'll leave an interview, right? So we saw on Tim Pool, I don't know if you guys saw this, but when Kanye West went on Tim Pool's show, not sure if you know who Tim Pool is. Tim Pool is a what we call a centrist YouTuber. He has a podcast called Timcast IRL, over 1 million subscribers. He has 3 different YouTube channels, his podcast, and then 2 other channels where he has over 1 million subscribers on all of them. But he's pretty popular on YouTube. But he went on YouTube with Mayo Yiannopoulos and Nick Fuentes. And when Kanye West went on to talk about, you know, people claiming that he's anti-Semitic, and he was saying that, you know, these certain people are responsible for what I'm going through. They're trying to put me in jail. Now I want to speak on that real quick. So Kanye West says that the Jays are trying to put him in jail, right? because someone told him that he owes $50 million in taxes. And if he doesn't pay this $50 million in taxes, he's going to go to jail. Well, that doesn't sound like there's a conspiracy. It basically sounds like you haven't paid your taxes. So if you haven't paid your taxes, people who don't pay their taxes end up in jail because that's tax evasion. So it's not a conspiracy that these people are trying to destroy you or bring you down. It's just the fact that you need to pay your taxes. But anyway, let me get back to Tim Pool. So he was on Tim Pool's show. He started talking about, what these people are doing to him. And then Tim Pool actually started to sympathize with him. And he said, the media has been, or he said, I'm sorry, people have been unfair to you. He said, they have been unfair to you. And then Kanye West said, who's they? And then Tim Pool says, well, I'm not talking about the they that you think they are. Basically, he was saying that I'm talking about like the media and the establishment has been unfair to you. But Kanye West wanted Tim Pool to say they are the Jays, right? And if you don't know what the Jays are, just look it up. You can kind of figure it out. But then Nick Fuentes, he tries to chime in and says, but aren't they though? And then Tim Pool's like, no, they're not. And then Kanye West says, what do you mean they're not? And then after that, he gets up and he walks out. He doesn't want to have the conversation. So if somebody says, I don't agree with your assessment, then you can push back and say, well, this is why I believe what I believe based on this evidence, based on this facts. But the problem is, I don't think Kanye West has any facts to back up anything that he's talking about. I think Kanye West just feels a certain way, and he wants people to acknowledge the fact that he feels this certain way and just go with it. Empathize with them, sympathize with them, but he wants to acknowledge his truth. He wants people to acknowledge his truth, and I hate that. I'm sorry. I hate this idea that people have their own truths. That's not true. There's only one truth. There's the truth. That's it. You don't get to have your own truth. You don't get to believe that you're a man when you're a woman, or a woman when you're a man. You don't get to believe that, or you get to have your own truth in that. Because if you were born a certain way, this is what it is. This is what you are, right? So we'll say that in terms of, the LGBTQ. But when it comes to Kanye West, I've heard a lot of conservatives basically backing him up and saying, well, he should be able to have his own truth. Tim Pool didn't acknowledge his truth. And that's BS. I don't believe that. So that's one thing that I've been hearing. And there are some other people that have been saying that Kanye West has some kind of plan in place, that he's this master plan that he's trying to unfold, and everything is going to come together, and eventually we're going to see what he's been doing. I don't think so. I think Kanye West is unhinged. I believe Kanye West is getting either he's getting bad advice, or he just has his own bad views or bad ideas, that he has a bunch of yes men around him and they're not telling him what he should do or telling him the right thing. They're just going along with whatever he feels. There are some people who believe that Kanye West is being used by Milo and by Nick Fuentes, or being conditioned, or somebody has been feeding him a bunch of information that he's not really on the, I don't want to say he's not dumb, but I don't believe that he can articulate, or he's been reading enough to understand the things that he's been fed, which I don't think that's it either. Now, I wanted to show you guys. So some people have been saying this idea about the Jays, Nick Fuentes, when he said that he loved Hitler and the Nazis. So it doesn't actually come from Nick Fuentes. It comes from Kanye West. So this is 2018, Kanye West, when he was on TMZ, and he talked about slavery was a choice. If you don't remember that, go look it up. He actually mentioned what he said to Alex Jones about Hitler and the Nazis in 2018. So Kanye West has had this idea about Hitler and the Nazis since then. So I think Kanye West needs to take some time off. I believe Kanye West, I don't think he's having a mental breakdown, but I believe that he's in the middle of some kind of episode where I don't think he can really decipher what is right or what is wrong to say. And for someone who wants to be president in 2024 or wants to win a presidency in 2024, you have to understand that there's things that you can say and there's things that you cannot say. And if you're going to say something that is controversial or as controversial as this, or maybe a little less controversial, but I mean, I don't think you can get worse than this in terms of controversy. But if you want to say something like this, then you have to be able to articulate why you feel this way. And not just say, I feel this way, don't challenge me. I feel this way, and that's all that matters. So he tried to say, and some people are defending it this way as well. He's saying that, or people are saying that, Kanye West, and what he was saying, he said that, if you're a Christian, then you should love everybody. So you should love even people like Hitler and the Nazis because you're supposed to love everybody. Jesus would love everybody. Well, I just pointed out that in 2018, Kanye West said the same thing. And I don't even know if he was on this spiritual journey back then where he basically, or maybe he was, but I just don't think that this was the reason. I'm sorry. I just don't think it was about his Christianity or about loving people. I think this is just how he feels. He feels like these people have done good and he admires them for some reason. But I think that this is because Kanye West has always, or not always, but for a long time, Kanye West has felt a certain way about the Jays. I think that he has a little bit of disdain for the Jays. And in having this disdain for the Jays, then why wouldn't you admire someone like Hitler if you don't like these people? And I really think that he doesn't like these people. Like, there's some people that say, I don't think he's anti-Semitic. Okay, he may not be, but I don't think he likes these people. I just don't. I think that he has created this boogeyman in his head, just like we have a lot of black liberals and white liberals, ironically, that create the boogeyman of white supremacists, right? So you have this boogeyman where the black liberals and white liberals will say that, white people control everything. They're running the country. They're trying to do all these evil things behind the scenes and blah, blah, blah. I call that out, right? So if I call that out about white liberals, why wouldn't I also call it out about Kanye West and what he's saying about the Jays? And I know I keep saying Jays because, I don't know, I'm trying to make it to where this video is not censored, okay? But anyway, so why wouldn't I call it out when Kanye West is basically doing the same thing, in my opinion? You may feel differently, but it seems like if one group is saying that this evil boogeyman, this white supremacist boogeyman, this white boogeyman is lurking around every corner, he controls everything, he wants to put us in a bad situation. Everything that has happened in our lives is because of this white boogeyman, right? All the bad things that happen to black people and minorities or other minorities are because of this white boogeyman. Well, it seems like Kanye West is saying the same thing about the Jays. The boogeyman of the Jays is controlling his life and making his life miserable. Everything that he's went through is because of this group of people. Now, when he was on Alex Jones was talking about Margaret Sanger and the eugenics project, and Margaret Sanger basically coming out and saying she wants to exterminate black people. And then he asked Kanye West, why do you think that is? Or what do you want to comment on that? And Kanye West basically saying, it's the Zionist Jays. I don't think that has anything to do with that. I think that Margaret Sanger was a racist, Ku Klux Klan, either sympathizer or a member, and she wanted to exterminate the black race. That doesn't mean that she's connected with those people. I don't believe that at all. I think that's separate, so I'm not going to put those two together, but some people might, and that's on you. But I just wanted to make this video because I wanted to kind of give my perspective on what I thought about the whole Kanye West situation. Now, I've been a Kanye West fan since he first dropped The College Dropout. And even before that, because I was a fan of his beats. I used to rap and make beats. So I heard his beats back then, and I was a fan, and he came out with the album. And I was like, that's dope. He can rap. So I've been a fan of Kanye West since back then. And to see how he's evolved, and to be honest, when he supported Donald Trump, that was great for me to see. I love seeing it. It was awesome to have someone of his caliber, of his celebrity, to back Donald Trump. That was great. But then after he backed Donald Trump, he was having these episodes and doing things that were crazy. So it's just weird. Like being a Kanye West fan is like being on the craziest roller coaster ever. But that's just what it is. And at this point, and I supported him and I defended him sometimes when he said crazy stuff. Like, for instance, when he said slavery was a choice, I understood what he was saying. It kind of sounds crazy, but I understand what he was saying. That's the thing about Kanye West. He has a hard time articulating his points. But I understood exactly what he was saying, and I didn't get mad about that. I had no issue with that because, you know, when you watch Black Panther and he talked about, when Killmonger at the end, he talked about the slaves that jumped over the boats, so those like jumped overboard on the boats because they would rather die than be enslaved. That was kind of the same concept that Kanye West was trying to say. Basically, if you don't want to be enslaved, then do whatever you got to do to not be enslaved, even if it means dying. So I got the concept, but he couldn't explain it. That's the thing about Kanye West. Every time he has these views that are so controversial, he has a very, very hard time explaining it. It's like, yeah, this is in my head, but when it comes out, I have no idea how to tell people how I really feel about this. So it is very, very hard. And I don't know if you are supporting Kanye West for President 2024. I don't know why, but if you have your reasons, please leave them in the comments. I would love to read them. But as for me, I can't do it. If you want to run for president, you have to have a lot more tact than that. You just can't get up and say whatever you want in terms of, like, you know, things like this, because you're going to face a lot of backlash. And if you can't handle the backlash and handle people that oppose your views and be able to articulate your argument, then you don't need to be saying this stuff. That's my opinion. If you have a controversial view and you cannot articulate why you feel that way, then don't say it. I feel a certain way about certain things, but I'm more than capable of explaining why I feel this way to anybody. So when I'm challenged, I'm ready for the challenge. But Kanye West, he's never ready for any challenge when anybody challenges his views. You saw it on Tim Pool. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what his ultimate plan is. I don't think it's anything, but there are a lot of people who are hopeful, and that's on you. Whatever you want to do, that's fine, but I just don't see it. I'm sorry. But you tell me what you think. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please hit the like button, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.